What's going on, everyone? This is the fifth quarter show. You got co-host Jay, you got Wood, you got our engineer guy, Young Chuck in the building. What's going on?
Not much, man. It's a good Wednesday. Nice cool weather outside compared to what we were the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know, man. It is definitely, the weather is definitely not as hot as it's been, and it's a good thing because it seemed like, when we got through with that winter, we went straight to that hot weather, and have people in the house complaining about, hey, it's hot in here, let's cut on the AC, but that's not happening in my house. I don't do the AC until June 21st. I'm cheap, so.
I hear people with the dates. We don't really subscribe to that thought in the household, but it's just two of us, so.
Yeah, no doubt.
We roll with it. But it has been on already. I can't front.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It needed to be on a couple nights in my house, but fans, windows,
fan game,
and stay away from each other.
Right.
All right, man. What's going on, Chuck?
Not much. Enjoying some basketball. Just making it through the week.
Yeah, man. Making it through the week. That's like a great saying we all can definitely have in our minds. Making it through the week, man, because it's been a tough one. Very long week for everyone involved. We got a lot of things going on. I know we bring you guys brilliant fifth quarter shows and have great interaction, with the callers and awesome guests that call in, but we still have other things that we, do in our lives that definitely takes up a lot of our time too. So we're just making it through the week, Chuck. We go with that. Sports-wise, man, you said basketball, so we got the finals going on, Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Last night we had who played last night?
It was the Rockets and
the
Rockets and the Warriors, Golden State.
Yeah, the West played last night. The Golden State looked like they kind of would have, got knocked out of the game early, but I think Dwight Howard got hurt a little bit, and we can talk about it a little bit more, but it looks like it's going to be a series that may go 7. Tonight we have Cleveland and Atlanta. I know LeBron is calling Atlanta the Spurs 2.0. A real, team built on foundation, built on playing together. So we'll see how the Cavs handle, Atlanta. So let's go with the game last night, guys. How you feel about it?
Before we jump into it, I just want to get a shout out to the music that's in the background right now. It's a local artist and a guest on the show a couple of weeks back. Trip Fontaine. It's one of his cuts. I believe it's called New Heights, but I told him, we were gonna run with this, so I just want to make sure it's mentioned. If you like what you're hearing, you can check him out on SoundCloud. You can go back a couple of shows ago and get the information he shared, where to find him. I think he had 3 or 4 songs on there, but again, friend of the show from Metaphorically Speaking, Trip Fontaine.
There it is. Who does the production?
I tried to get with him to get that information because I actually really appreciate this beat. So he'll have to let us know.
Yeah, that'll be good because the beat, it sounds pretty good, man. Good music. And Trip's from Dayton, right? Local guy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, yeah, definitely big up to Trip Fontaine, Metaphorically Speaking, and this whole movement. Much success, moving forward. I wonder, does Trip like basketball? Is Trip a big sports guy?
I know he likes the Browns. I don't know about other sports.
He like the Browns.
Yeah, I know he likes the Browns.
So he's Chuck's guy. Yeah,
right.
Chuck's
they
over here
have
smiling.
Some stuff to chop it up about.
Yeah, so speaking about Cleveland, how about them Cavs, man? I mean, well, we're going to go with the West Coast first. Like we said last night's game. How'd you guys feel about it?
It was a pretty interesting game. I mean, it was some big runs by both sides. It was a pretty entertaining game. I'm pretty excited to see how that one plays out. I will say, just a quick overview of it, or my thoughts on it. It kind of seems like it's the big school guys versus some lesser celebrated programs with I don't even know where DeAndre he didn't go to Baylor, did he? DeAndre Jordan. I'm not sure where he went. But Clay going to a smaller basketball program, and then Seth Curry, obviously going to Davidson, and then on the other side of the, and Green obviously went to the Michigan State, so that's a big school guy. But on the other side, you had a lot of guys that did something in college, referring to Jones, Terrence Jones. He won a championship at Kentucky. Brewer, back-to-back championships at Florida. And you know, again on Houston, somebody like Houston, I mean, what's his name? Our bearded friend, Harden. He actually took, I believe he took Arizona State, not really a perennial power, but he was able to get them to his last year there. He was able to get them to the big dance. So, you know, it seems like, like I said, a battle of some lesser known guys. And it's great to see, you know, 4 or 5 years later, to see these guys intersect, their careers intersect. And now we're going to see what happens. I will say that I think a key to the series is, and I told you from the opening, was Klay. And Klay started out in that opening round averaging 25. I said, when your Robin is getting you 25 a night, you know, things are going to be going great. But then last series, that dipped down to maybe 17 a game versus Memphis, with Tony Allen and a couple other guys being on him. And then last night he only went for 15. So I think it'll be interesting to watch what he does. And then also, I mean, this Houston team, I mean, I keep overlooking them and doubting them, but I mean, they're here, you know, one of the last 2 teams standing. So it's hard to really, I mean, I'm looking at them like, where's that traditional point guard? I mean, but Harden did average around 7 assists a game. So, I mean, it's not like he's shabby, but it's in as far as performing point guard duties. But I don't know, man. I think it could be, I mean, obviously they're never say die, you know, the series that they just went through with the Clippers. So I think you're right. I think this could be a 6 or 7 game series. They lost a big opportunity last night being up 16, though.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, man, I think Houston can really make light work of Golden State. Just watching the game last night.
Light work?
Yeah, I think they can't deal with their size. I think if Dwight Howard comes back and he comes back healthy and is able to contribute, I just don't think that Golden State can deal with Houston's size, because when I watched the game last night, it was very easy for Houston, you know, to me, you know, getting inside, scoring some buckets. Golden State, I think their defense is overrated. I don't think they play the best defense. I think it gets kind of overblown that there's some kind of defensive, you know, team. I think when Dwight Howard I think that really, you know, kind of helped them neutralize Houston's size. That's just my opinion. I really believe that I just think it's going to be a tough series for guys like Draymond Green and them just to deal with, you know, that Josh Smith, what's the guy, Ariza, I
had tweeted out the other day that Ariza is similar to like the comment that Buddy Ryan made about Chris Carter. Like, he only catch touchdown. You know, all he does is catch touchdowns. Ariza only makes championship plays and knocks down that corner 3-pointer. Right. I mean, but he's one of those glue guys that's going to show up. And he had big 20 points last night.
Right. I mean, they got like, what, 4 or 5, 6, that's 6'9" or 6'11" kind of guys.
That length.
That I just think it can be a really easy series for Houston if they just, you know, utilize their size, because I don't think Golden State can continue to hit those shots. That's just my opinion.
I told you, I thought going back to that Mavericks Heat series, their the first time the Threedles went to the finals, the Mavericks were the last jump shooting team that I saw just ride. That was a 5 or 6 game series, maybe.
Yeah.
That was the last jump shooting team that I saw ride that out and make that happen. And I'm with you. I keep saying that, and like I just said, you know, with Klay's scoring coming down each round, if he's gonna stay around that 15 points a game, that's gonna be tough. And then Bogut had a goose egg last night.
I mean, how can he have a goose egg? He's out there playing, you know, and he don't give him anything. It's ridiculous.
He's not a big rebounder. He doesn't protect the rim.
Right.
I'm with you. I told you last year when the Spurs won it, you know, I said I didn't see. I was frank. I was like, I don't see how the Heat can match up with all the tools and weapons that the Spurs had. Mm-hmm. And I'm with you here. I don't know if I'm ready to go out and say Houston can take it, because Seth is such a. I mean, what you getting at 4 games at home, that crowd,
yeah.
If they can stay sharp offensively, it almost comes down to good pitching versus good hitting, and we know that good pitching usually wins that out. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, and it's definitely a good it's a series I think that can go either way. But the thing about Golden State that kind of shocked me was they don't get anything in the paint.
Nothing.
So I mean, I don't know about this Dwight Howard injury. Is it serious? Is he going to play next game? I know he had an MRI today. I was on the road, so I didn't really get a chance to see.
Right. I think
it was negative.
I didn't hear the MRI results, but I thought he was very optimistic about being ready for game 2.
Okay, good. And are they playing every other day?
Yeah.
So they have to go again tomorrow, right? Thursday?
Right. I believe. And then after that, it's that travel day.
He's listed as questionable, but he hopes to return within the series at some point. So that doesn't sound too good, but
right,
not for game 2.
Nah,
he doesn't seem like he's the kind of person who's going to force himself back.
Right,
you know what I mean.
Got a little what you think? What you call that?
TO factor.
Yeah, Dwight Howard. Speaking of Dwight Howard, why does he smile so much on the court, man? Why is he so happy and so jolly? And is that okay, or is that just me, nitpicking, his personality?
I think it is his personality. I don't think he's soft though. I think he's a physical guy, and I know he's pretty strong. He was one of the guys that had a 300-pound bench press several years ago. Mm-hmm. That bothers me too, because that demeanor on the court, because he got knocked down last night at a point in the game by a smaller guy, and he smiled while he was down there and just kind of laughed it off. And I think that was one thing that created the rift between him and Kobe, was kill all that smiling, man. We out here trying to be killers.
Right.
And he just never really exhibited that, that toughness. I mean, just beating it, chopping up this Western Conference series, or Western Conference Finals. Now, Jay Smooth, Josh Smith had 16 last night, high teens. I know he went 6 of 16 from the floor. Mm-hmm. But he's a frustrating guy, man, because this guy is the same height and almost the same body as LeBron. He's very comparable.
Right.
He's got to be able to finish over Seth Curry. And he went down there late and had a chance for a 3-point play and let little Seth Curry knock the ball away from him. And I'm just like, and he looked like he half attempted a Euro step, let Curry get into his body, and then he didn't finish. And again, like I got to give Coach K that credit for that, but shot taking versus shot making. And in that situation right there, the injury to D Howard was noticeable. You got to finish over Seth Curry.
Yeah, man. That's the only thing about this Houston where I wouldn't say that Houston should be able to win this series in 5, because guys like Smith is so up and down with his game. Because if you got a guy like Smith, if you got a healthy Dwight Howard, and you got Harden, I understand they got the Splash Brothers, and I understand they have Draymond Green, but what 3 would you rather have? I mean, I just think that Smith, Ariza, Dwight Howard, and I'm missing another big. Who's the other big? The young guy, the rookie, or the guy from
Terrence?
This overseas guy.
Prigioni?
No, like he's young. He may start if Howard don't play. The younger guy, like from, is that him? Yeah, Capella.
Oh yeah, Capella. Right.
Man,
right.
I mean, they have so much size and so much athleticism where they can just literally dominate the game. I mean, if you get a good shot every time down the court, and like you said, Josh Smith not getting the ball knocked away from him by a little guy, or just not finishing, not being strong. If you have a good shot and you can, enable your team to be able to crash the boards, how can Golden State compete with that? I see a big advantage with Houston, over Golden State. I understand Golden State's going to get hot. I understand Golden State is going to be at home, and Golden State probably can win it. But I just think that Houston's advantage when it comes to us watching playoff basketball in history's past, the Spurs, or, like you saying, those matchup nightmares, I just think Houston has it when it comes to pure playoff basketball.
The only thing there with that lineup is that those guys aren't all accomplished in the NBA. They haven't made a lot of teams. They don't have a 6-man winner. They have a lot of sometimey guys, and you never know what combination is going to work at once. And then you don't have and that was another play when Harden drove in late and got the bounce pass to Jay Smooth underneath, and he had Seth Curry on him again, and he let the ball go through his hands, and it was a crucial moment. And again, you got to make championship plays, and I just don't know if Jay Smooth's focus is always there. He never seems to really, his body language is that he's never playing hard. And then also another liability out there is Jet, JT.
That's yes.
When he has to play a lot of minutes, and him trying to be the tough guy or the enforcer or a goon, that's not a good look for him.
Not at all.
He got a little chippy last night. I'm with you, man. I think it could be it's not going to be a 5-game series with that.
It's going to go
with
7
that loss
or 6.
But I like you said, I like. We've said it before. Basketball is a big man's game. It's a game of length, and I like Houston's length over that. And one thing, man, are we overlooking Mikal as a coach? I mean, he's making some decisions out here and doing some stuff on the fly.
Yeah,
that's a little unconventional, and he's not really getting praised, as being a good coach. Oh, and I'm done after my next comment. One thing I will say before he got hurt, and even closing out that last series, I'm amazed that as a technician in the post, Mikal was a very fundamental. He relied on his fundamentals a lot, and he was a technician. And I'm just amazed at times that the ball does not go through Dwight Howard more often. I know his offense is up and down and whatnot, but I'm amazed that that you just constantly, like closing out that game, they were up 19 and still shooting 3-pointers.
Right.
Instead of getting some easier looks with him. I know he's a liability at the free throw line, but I'm just like, that shot selection, just in my opinion, even and we've said before, the inside out 3-pointers. Shoot some of your 3-pointers on the inside.
Yep.
Not the step back 3-pointer when you're up 22 points. So I'm with you, man. I think it's 6-7. I think Houston does present a style matchup for them, a bad matchup for Golden State. And it'll be interesting if Spates or Maurice Spates or David Lee, if they have to rely on them more. Also, my very last statement, good look from Sean Livingston, getting, I think he went over 20 last night, didn't he?
He had 18.
18, right there. So
7 rebounds, great game.
Right.
And three assists. Yeah, man, it's just a good playoff. I think that we have 4 teams left, right?
Right.
I think anybody can win it. I don't see a real clear-cut favorite. I just think it's going to be some good basketball, something for us to enjoy. Definitely, we have an opportunity to see a team who hasn't won the finals, right, in a long time. Because let me think, who?
Houston is probably the most recent.
About 97, maybe?
Somewhere in there.
So it should be good for, the playoff fans. And I think it should be nice, man. What about moving over to the East? Them Cavs, they kick off tonight, right? 8:30. Yeah. Cavs in Atlanta. I guess that's what, number 1 and number 2 seed?
Yep.
So
Houston was number 2 seed in the West.
They were? You may be right.
Because they had the home game versus in Game 7. That was in Houston, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. So I think they were. We can confirm that, but I'm pretty sure they finished up in that 2nd seed.
You're probably right. That's what we want, right?
That's how they draw it up.
Yeah, top 4 teams. So Cleveland, is Kyrie fully healthy or what? What's going on? What's the latest on him?
Top two seeds.
Top 2 seeds.
That probably doesn't happen that often.
Not at all.
But my viewpoints on Kyrie, and it might just boil down to his foot. I thought it was mentioned that he might be due for surgery after this all ends. I thought that's what I heard floated out there. I put up on the Facebook page, again, you can find us on Facebook, fifth quarter show. I'm not comfortable going with the team in Atlanta where your bigs are the same size or shorter than LeBron James. Paul Millsap and the other Gator, Horford. Yeah. You can't be the same size as LeBron and not have a similar skill set. Or as Millsap can shoot outside, but Horford's he's probably not getting further than 15, 16 out. Mm-hmm. I just can't really root for you, or I can't put too much expectations in you when you have bigs that don't match up well with LeBron. And then lastly, I'm concerned that Jeff Teague, he's riding the bench a lot in the fourth quarter, and the shooter guy, Schroeder, however you say his name, he's not an offensive dynamo. So I just see this playing into the Cavs' hands, and if LeBron conserves his energy in certain games, a different player can step up, such as Dellavedova did in the last series. If he can get some help, man, I just feel like the NBA wants him playing in the next round. Those guys aren't going to get the Hawks aren't going to get calls over LeBron, and I just don't know if that team will be able to handle the mental aspects of seeing things mysteriously not go their way over the course of that series.
Yeah, if there's a team that definitely need to win tonight, it's definitely Atlanta. Atlanta has to win tonight, I believe, to make it a series. I can see them losing tonight to Cleveland if they do lose, and it can be a quick one for them also, because you just pretty much summed it up with Atlanta. Atlanta is just, I don't see how Washington blew the Atlanta series, to be honest with you. I thought Washington definitely had Atlanta right where they wanted them to be. As good as Paul Pierce is, he made a big shot. If he, the game that they lost when Horford hit the little tip in, mm-hmm. If he had put a little body on him, it'd have been game time. Or was it tied? Or did they win overtime, or did Horford win the game?
Horford won the game.
So they won by 1.
Right.
So that would have been a wrap. But I just don't see, when I watch Atlanta play and I watch them get in crunch time, who's going to take the big shot for them? I just don't see it. Is that the guy you just mentioned, the point guard, the one with the little blonde in his hair or something?
Schroeder.
What school did he go to?
He's from
his hand a lot during crunch time, making driving to the hole or trying to shoot the three. How can he be your go-to guy when it comes to, we're trying to win this game? I don't know. I know Atlanta is a good team. Evidently, they have the best record in the East. They definitely
3-1 in the series versus Cleveland over the season too, in the regular season.
Right, 3-1. So they have that advantage also. So they have confidence that they can beat Cleveland. Whether it be in Atlanta or up in Cleveland. So I just think, like you just said, LeBron is the one who everybody wants to see, make it to the finals. Like a guy told me today, up in where were we up today? We were up in Columbus. He was like, the NBA wants to see LeBron in the finals. If LeBron did not win this past series, nobody would be watching NBA basketball right now.
And I hate to say that, but I mean, it's obvious certain playoff games don't make it. The game 6 or game 7 doesn't go to ABC. It goes to TNT or TNT mm-hmm. or ESPN. And when you don't, all of this stuff comes down to a numbers game to me. And I just don't think, in the back of people's minds, you can't risk the Atlanta Hawks going to that next round unless they just soundly beat the Cavaliers. I mean, if they're clearly the better team, then what happens. But and to your point, Schroeder going down the lane with 5 seconds left, he's not getting a call in the world.
Not happening.
And he's not an exceptional athlete where he's jumping over people. So I just don't see him, unless Jeff Teague regains his confidence in his scoring and his creative scoring that he had earlier and in the middle part of the season. I just can't see them moving on. And that one shooter that they have, I think his first name is Michael, seems like he's getting less and less minutes right now. He's a 6'7", 6'8" guy. Mm-hmm. Adams or something. I can look his name up in a minute. But if they're going to shrink their bench down and run with only 7, I just don't think that bodes well for them. And then also, if we're looking at this Damari Carroll guy we're asking him to do something big in the brightest lights. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, man. Carroll, reminds me of that. Who's the guy for Boston that was trying to check LeBron?
Crowder.
Same kind of player.
He's facing the same. He's up against it.
So we'll see what Carroll can get it done or not. So if we had to put like one key, for either Cleveland or Atlanta to advance, what would it be? I would go with me. My key, I think it's going to boil down to Josh Smith and Shumpert. I think Smith and Shumpert had great series against the Bulls. Because LeBron didn't play well. He didn't shoot the ball well. I mean, I still think he was a great facilitator and getting his teams and players in the right spot to be successful. But I think if Shumpert and Smith play well, I don't see how Cleveland will lose.
Well, good point you just mentioned. I don't see Cleveland. I don't see it not going at least 7 games if LeBron doesn't get back up into the middle 20s and averaging points. He finished that last game against Chicago with 15. At some point, I do think that Atlanta is disciplined enough and they rely on their system enough and they do enough that he needs to step it up to get through.
Yeah, he got to step it up. And the thing, how are the teams losing to Cleveland? And LeBron's not even having like an MVP type of playoffs. What's going on with that?
That kind of segues into our next talking point. Smoke and mirrors, man. I mean, you just don't believe you can beat this team, or you don't believe you're the better team, or you don't believe that you just can actually win. It's something, because that performance by the Bulls really sucked the what's the word, man? The momentum. It really sucked the momentum out of the postseason, in my opinion.
It really did, man.
Not getting to a game 7.
I think we all communicated with each other that day. When we were watching the game, it was like, to me, what's the guy's name who comes off the bench for Chicago?
Mirotic,
the guard who went out for 20-something points. No, for Cleveland. I'm sorry.
Dellavedova.
How you let Delly score 20-something points? And Rose is checking him. I mean, don't you think you take that personal this is an MVP, right?
He was on a bike. He was on a stationary bike under the stands looking puzzled.
Come on, what?
You have Adidas commercials.
Thank you.
I told you months ago that he had no business being paired up with Tupac.
You blew him up back then. I should have known.
You got a commercial with Tupac, and you let Dellavedova, and Dellavedova did it like, he was doing it for fun.
Easy.
He was pulling up from like 2 or 3 steps deep behind the 3-point line, and LeBron was giving it to him like doing.
Exactly.
Here you bounce back doing. Exactly. You can't allow that, man.
Yeah, it's like what your boy Trip Fontaine said to us, easy money. It was just easy
money.
It was easy, man. And it's like everybody knew it was going to happen. And what's up with Chicago? I mean, we thought that it was going to be a great 7-game series and come down to a last-second shot, but for them to play so bad those last couple of games, it just really shocked the heck out of me.
And you look at the energy that the bench players and the role players and Mikal not even going to Harden in that 19-point deficit they faced going into that third quarter in an elimination game. And that was an elimination game on Chicago's home court.
Ugh.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, moving into our next point on the downfall or demise of Chicago, I was actually really shocked that Thibodeau made it through the weekend.
You did say that, yeah.
And, I don't have any sources or anything, but that performance at that spot, like I said, on your own court, and you let Thibodeau should have went in and got his own uniform and went out there and died on the court or something. guarding Dellavedova than to sit there and what transpired, letting that happen. I just that really killed the playoffs for me personally.
Yeah, man. It's here's, like you said, I think 2 weeks ago, you said there's no way you can have a guy like Noah out there playing big minutes, and he's shooting the ball so hard off the backboard. He's starting fast breaks for other teams, and that goes to easy buckets.
His shot was the outlet pass.
Right. It's great. We have not seen that from any big man all playoffs. Everybody's been trying to play decent ball down low, and if you don't have a good shot, I'm just gonna pass the ball out. He did it like 5 times in a row. Offensive rebounds or good passes, dumb downs. He didn't do anything with it, and that's Thibs as being a coach. I'm gonna play Muhammad. I know he's so deep on the bench.
Is that Nazi?
Yeah, Nazir Muhammad.
I didn't know he was still in the league.
I'm gonna go with Muhammad, man, because I can't deal with anybody like Noah. We understand we love his energy, but you got to score some buckets, man.
You got to hold him accountable. And in here we see, so something's going on between Rose and Butler. Yeah, I didn't get to read up on that because I was so disgusted with the Bulls. I couldn't even give them any more of my time. But there was a couple articles online. People can go check or let us know. I put these comments up on the Facebook page in case some people wanted to call in and discuss them. But there's a couple of different beefs in the league, and we don't have to go in. Like I said, I didn't get to the articles, but apparently there was a rift between Rose and Jay Butler. I think Rose just is being pushed as not being the go-to man. And I'll say one thing, in the win where LeBron hit the three-pointer, I thought it was interesting that when the Bulls were down on that possession, they actually went to Jay Butler, Jimmy Butler, for the bucket. And he went in and got that bucket that put them 1 up or 2 up. Then LeBron came down, hit his shot. No, that was actually the win that the Bulls got.
Right.
LeBron, the Cavaliers did score, and then Rose came back and hit the 3-point play to win it.
Right.
But like I said, the meaningful bucket, they called Jimmy Butler's number, and so it's a beef there. I think that one will probably get worked over or smoothed out. But then there's also beef supposedly between DeAndre and CP3 out for the Clippers, who are no longer in the mix, and it's enough of a rift that it could play a significant part in DeAndre's decision to go get paid somewhere.
Let me ask you a question with the beef. You mentioned Jordan for the Clippers, and you mentioned Mr. Butler for the Bulls. You think that they have this new bravado and this new, want to have some issues with the star player or the franchise of the team, franchise player of the team, because they're hearing their name called a little bit more. They're in the press clippings a little bit more because Jordan and Butler for their teams have definitely become stars.
They took strides this year.
They really did, man. So do you think that they should be, approaching a guy like Paul or Rose, or should they just continue to play their position, before they, reading their press clippings and giving this high status of, possibly being an elite player in the league?
I think I mentioned it when we first started out with the fifth quarter show that I thought D Rose's availability is rubbing, it's grating on the team's morale. And I just, we didn't mention it at the time because we were caught up in some of Rose's performances as he came back. But like you said, when you're logging major minutes, you're taking big shots, you're playing the hardest you're guarding the other team's number one player, and you're doing all this work and you hold the fort down, and then Rose comes back off that 3 or 4 week layoff or whatever it was, 6 weeks, 5 weeks, and we getting ready to head into the playoffs, and I've gotten it rolling, my career's going right, and now I'm supposed to defer to you, and you're not even coming in. I mean, we have to reform our chemistry and the flow of everything. I thought that was kind of odd that he was reinserted right back into being the focal point on offense. That just bothered me a little bit.
Yeah, it really it's not a good look for Coach Thibs not managing that situation a little bit better. I don't know how he did it and what he was talking to those guys in the locker room, But we do know for sure, and you mentioned it, when it came to crunch time, Butler had his hands on the ball.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, you know, in the Clipper situation with Jordan and Paul, I don't understand why they are having some issues, because I really thought Chris Paul played as well as he could, man. You know, I really thought he really laid it on the line. I thought he played tough. He had some injuries, and he really showed me that he could play through some pain, because he had hamstring, right?
Yeah.
We all know what that hamstring injury feels like. You know, that thing can pull on you at any moment.
Right.
One of your bigger muscles. But I don't know, man. It's like, what is he beefing with Paul? I think it's nothing to do with Paul. I just think, definitely me myself, somebody has been grilling me ever since, you know, when you had the segment with which coach would you play for, and I picked Doc Rivers. And they've been telling me that Doc Rivers is a bum ever since they heard that our show. They don't think Doc Rivers is a good coach. They think that he lucked up and got the one championship when they played the Lakers, right? They think the Lakers laid down on them.
Yeah, they did implode. But
they kind of implode, but you know, it's like Jay, why you gonna pick Doc Rivers? I mean, look what he just happened in. You know, they lost 3 straight games to Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were 3-1.
Yeah.
They lost 3 straight games.
Yeah.
And they said that was all Doc, man. They said Doc kind of didn't, you know, give them anything down the stretch to win the win the series. What you guys think about that?
That's a heck of a discussion right there, and a grilling.
They were grilling me about picking Doc. It's like, you know, everybody on the panel was picking. I think you picked Pop, and who did you? I picked Pop. They said, I picked Doc.
Papa Doc.
Papa Doc, and they popped me with my pick.
Right. Hey, you know, we got to take somebody in this game. We I can't say we get paid, but we on here to have opinions.
Right.
You know, the 20-point, to have some 25-point wins, 20-point wins, have a 19-point lead in an elimination game, and to turn around and lose it. I think one thing, man, where did Matt Barnes disappear to? Where did he shrink away to and run off and hide? He didn't do anything the last 2 or 3 games that I noted. So I think when your 3-man disappears like that, you got young Rivers out here trying to find himself. He's not a night in, night out guy, despite the few outbursts that he had. I just think they're a bad, organized team, and it just went bad for them, because as another team that relies a lot on shooting,
right?
When they were trying to come back, and my Duke guy, Redick, he's coming off of curls and he can't even hit. That whole connection with the screens and the dives and the lob, that whole game was non-existent.
Right.
But again, that's the length of Houston disrupting that. So is this a knock against CP3's legacy? Was it just legs? Or what? Or is this a reflection of Doc's coaching?
I think they go hand in hand, man. I really believe that CP3 has that personality. He has an attitude. He wants to be the best. And it's nothing wrong with him feeling he's the best. But you got to get him over the hump, man. Has he ever been to a Western Conference Finals or any kind of finals?
Nah, he hasn't really won a lot of series, but that was the first time he would have been able to reach a conference final.
Is coaching overrated in pro sports?
I think in basketball, I think it's more, and that's why I'm not gonna knock you on your pick with Doc, because I think Doc communicates very well with these guys.
That's what I thought too.
And relates to these guys very well. Despite that he's permanently hoarse, he can start the first preseason game.
Right.
Over here.
Right.
And
that's too much Hennessy, man.
Something. he do have that red skin too, so he might have been
Henny, man.
He might have that flask back there.
Right.
But I think, because you can't really convince. I'm not convinced about Steve Kerr just yet.
Me either.
You know. And I mean, the thing is, man, and we can get ready to move on and close out basketball, but you listen to these coaches, whether it was Whitman, like I said, the only one I really haven't heard is Mikal. But whether it's Whitman, Doc, who else do we have left? The Budenholzer guy, whatever his name, Bud in Atlanta. You don't hear much from Blatt, but all of them are saying the same thing. Stay in it. Stay with me. We gotta get stops.
Right.
They're checking our heart right now.
Right.
I mean, it's like 8 go-to statements to make in a timeout.
Right.
And I can't really see the impact of coaching in the NBA.
That's a good question, man. So with our callers tonight, if anybody talks about NBA, we have a caller coming in.
No, according to ESPN, Chris Paul's the #1 player to ever play not play in a conference final.
There it is.
So he has not played in one, and they're saying that he's the best to never play in one.
Yeah, like I had put on the Facebook page, maybe even on Twitter. He's getting ready to be in a category with Andre Miller as far as the #1 point guard to have that many starts or that many playoff, that much playoff experience and never be in a final, or a final or a conference final. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna knock him. I do think we mentioned it. I ran down the story of Isaiah's breakdown going into this, and I think we're there now. But like you said, I thought Chris gave it his all, man.
I thought he did.
But again, the look in that last game, the way they closed out that series, the way that they got blown out in a game 7, an elimination game, that's just not a good look for an all-time player.
Not at all.
When it happens on your watch, it's hard to run from it.
So when we grew up, we watched ball. Not even really we grew up watching ball, but just there's no more that #1 guy going for 40 points or 38 points. You remember Karl Malone? I mean, he would go for 38, 39 points. He would will his team to win. I don't understand John Stockton was setting him up, but still, Karl Malone knew, hey, this is game 6, game 7. We can clinch or we can be eliminated, whatever it may be. But I got to will my team to victory. If I had to shoot 38% or 40, he never did that. But any of the good guys, Iverson, Carter when he was in Toronto, was Carter in Milwaukee too?
No,
not Milwaukee. Yeah, but even when he was in Toronto, Carter, or I didn't even see what's the guy's name with the sleepy eye, McGrady and
Tracy McGrady
and Penny Hardaway. Them guys would go for buckets just to ensure they would win a series, and they know they had a team on the ropes. But now, I think like you mentioned, Isaiah, these guys are they trying to be too efficient?
Well, that was the knock against
right.
CP3 is that he doesn't play reckless enough and he doesn't push the envelope. It's too controlled, and you can't play controlled in the playoffs. You got to do whatever you say. I will say one thing, a disadvantage to CP3 against that Houston squad, which you noted earlier, the overall length of all those guys kind of nullified or negated what CP3 could do inside. So he was really shooting a lot of floaters, and he shot the deep ball a lot more regularly in that series. So that's a tough one, man. Hey, before we get out of that, what's up with the draft? I mean, the lottery, the outcome on that wasn't in the notes, but before we close it off, I thought we could hit it. What's your thoughts on that, man? I mean, obviously Minnesota
was 1 and
1, Lakers are 2. Philly, your Philly team went 3. 4 was the Knicks, and then 5 was Orlando. Really quickly, I got it in front of me right now. My Pistons, they can never get down in that top 5. They come in at 8.
Right.
The Lakers have a chance to get a big man.
They sure do.
Randall's coming back next year.
Yep.
The Mamba's back. Out of those top 5, man, who do you think can take advantage of that? Or who?
I think there's 5 good players, right, that can really impact your team with those picks we just named. I think you got the big man, right?
You got Karl Anthony Towns, and Okafor.
I'm not gonna say who goes where. And then you have, I think, the one kid from Ohio State.
Oh, D'Angelo Russell
is an impact player.
Said the Knicks contacted him.
They did.
Yeah.
So I think he can come in and be, a good player for the team. And what's the other? It's another kid that went overseas. What's his name? And he didn't. He's young, but he didn't play. He didn't go to college. He went overseas to play. Exum, or what's his name? What's the guy?
Exum's in the league already.
Not Exum.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of that off the top of my head. We also have Winslow.
And that's what you said, your boy from Duke.
Justice.
But I don't know if I'm top. Is he top 5? You
Justice. I caught a little highlight package of Justice, and they made him look like the real deal.
Right.
So that wasn't a good. You got the kid from Arizona, Stanley Roberts.
Stanley, yeah.
It may be 7 to 8 players, man. I don't think Kobe. They can. I think the franchise has a chance to reload,
right?
And have some promising pieces moving forward. And it's good that Minnesota was already young, and then now you can add. You have your pick of who you want to put next to, alongside Wiggins, and they got a lot of young talent anyway. So that's an interesting look right there. Is what can Minnesota do? You guys figured that out?
Nah. Chuck sent over here Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I
close enough.
Maybe you knew how. If you
no.
saw it.
Yeah, I don't know that guy. I was thinking about the other. I think he's what is his name? I'm sorry. But at any rate, man, isn't it a shock to see all those big name teams though? Some of the pillars of the NBA up there picking so early though.
But we need to get Philly out of there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's 3 years in a row. You're tanking. You're trading number 1 picks. My man last year I can't even remember his Embiid.
Right.
He ballooned up to 300 pounds while he was on the bench. Nerlings missed the whole year. You know, some of these storylines have to straighten out for them. I will say I did mention that Miami, they came in the top 10. So it'll be interesting what they get.
Chuck just put me on Emmanuel Mudiay. That's the guy. That's the guy they said that's gonna be the real deal. I mean, if you don't want the size, you know what I'm saying? Because
how tall is he? What position?
6'5" point guard.
6'5" point guard.
So he left America to go play in Europe.
China.
He left America to go play in China.
I think so.
Instead of going into the NCAA. Is that?
Hold on, let me make sure.
We can pick up on that.
Yeah.
Next week. You know, we just wanted to get into a little bit of NBA talk.
Yeah, he went to prep school in Dallas.
Okay.
But he's from the Congo. But he went to the prep school in Dallas, and instead of going to college, he decided to go and play over in China.
I think I remember that story. I just lost track of him.
He was a McDonald's All-American.
What was the height again? 6'5".
Supposed to be the real deal, man. You know what I'm saying? We just haven't seen him, play. But I'm hearing that he may be that guy. I don't know. We're gonna find out though. I'm hearing he may go number 2. That's what he started at number 5, but I'm hearing.
So what's he playing? Guard or shooting guard?
Play the point
at 6'5".
Mm-hmm.
Bleacher Report's got him going forward to the Knicks.
I was getting ready to say I still take Russell over him. I'm sorry. I haven't put an eye on the kid, but I'm
we gotta watch.
Russell.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get there after we watch him more. But
2 quick questions.
Yep.
More irritating, both of y'all. More irritating. We need to get on to the next stuff. More irritating for you is Seth Curry. His baby, his child, Riley Curry, being up on the mic in the press conference. I'm gonna say off the rip, for game 1, I really didn't like it. But what's more irritating, that or him and his mouthpiece stuff when he's shooting free throws with the mouthpiece hanging all out the side of his face? What's more irritating? What's more bigger issue for you? I mean, we old school. Chuck, you a young lion.
Yeah.
But as old school, old grumpy old man that I'm becoming.
Well, it's gonna be with me. It's gonna be the kid. I don't want the kid. The kid is the family. I don't want them with me at the press conference. That's just me.
Skip Bayless and Brian Windhorst of ESPN, they both were highly critical of the baby of the kid being there.
I mean, I know it's okay, and I know you love your family. I don't want to kiss my daughter or anybody kid when I'm doing shoot around. I'm going to work. I'm going to the office, and once I leave the office and I get dressed and take my shower, get dressed, then I can be family guy. But I don't know. That's just not me, man.
She took over the post game presser.
Oh yeah, I definitely.
She was sitting on his lap. She speaking into the mic. She told him to be quiet. The press had to play nice and let her do her antics. I think she's 2 or 3. What about you, Chuck? More of an issue: the mouthpiece hanging out of the mouth, or the child being at the.
I watched that video from the press conference earlier today, and it's definitely got to be the child being up there because, like you said, she took over the whole press conference and was kind of up there telling him what to do. You know, if she wants to come up there, that's good, but she's got to sit there and be quiet. Well, like you said, you're at work, so you gotta let him work. That's part of his job is to communicate with the press.
And that's Windhorse's thing was like, you're a millionaire, you're this millionaire player. You got all this stuff. We're here to sit. We got to file these stories to make our deadlines. We're trying to ask you serious questions. There's 60 of us in here trying to get a question in.
Western Conference Finals too.
So I'm wondering,
what you think?
For me personally, man, I'm glad I'm not a young impressionable dude. But with us having Coach Trice on last week, I got a feeling that I could go to the games next year and it's gonna be 3 kids on the court at the same time with a mouthpiece hanging out the side of their mouth, and that's kind of bothering me because now you're defeating the purpose of the mouthpiece. And I also say one video that I was watching, it's a 7'1" African kid that's I don't know what city he's in. He might even came from Canada, but he's a guard at 7'1".
Yep.
He might be a junior or going into his senior year.
Yep. But
he was going down on a fast break and was getting ready to go up for a dunk in game action, and had the mouthpiece hanging out of his mouth driving down the court. And it's just bugging me.
It bugs you.
It bugs me. But more so than her being there in the presser, for me, what bothered me that it was a game 1. Like you just said, I'm at work. It's still more work to do.
Right.
So we got at least 3 more games to play.
Right.
Baby, come back when... I'm going to say that and we can move on. The kid being there, and then the fact that confetti dropped from the ceiling last night in game 1.
Yeah, man. I don't understand it, man. I really don't, Wood. I don't understand the mouthpiece. I don't understand the kid. I don't understand the confetti. I don't understand LeBron and the headband. Is he going to wear it? Is he not going to? I just don't. It's just too... These players are different, man.
It's different, man. It's a lot of it's a lot of different stuff going on that I'm just not a fan of or accustomed to. So
players wearing the leggings on their legs, and I just don't understand it.
Big men. I told you in our parking lot chronicles when the fifth quarter show was actually birthed in a empty parking space in the parking lot after work. I told you then a big man, a center like D. Howard wearing shooting sleeves on both arms. That bothers me.
It's just what's wrong with them, man?
That's insignificant, and we've been picky, but yeah, man, those 2 things, that confetti just was like, it's no time to relax now because you won game 1. You were supposed to win game 1.
Right.
You finished your series in 5 or 6 games. You were well rested. You're the best team. You haven't lost on your home court in several months, so that just bothered me.
Okay, yeah. So, we done with NBA talk? You watch Iverson?
We can get into that.
Week? Or you want to get into that this week?
Let's move on, man.
You want to move on?
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I watched pretty much the end of it.
I will say, we can run with it or not, but I got some new insight on the whole practice rant.
Finally.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah.
So we can that could be a teaser for next week.
There we go.
Check out the Showtime documentary on Iverson. I don't even remember what the title of it is, but yeah.
Press is dirty, man. The press and the media, they'll blow it up to be something that it's not, man. It's crazy.
And we can move on. I will say the whole time on this, and I wanted to make a joke out of it, but I'm blowing it now. But this whole Deflategate thing, Iverson in practice kept coming to my mind. Like, we talking about PSI? I mean, really, we talking about PSI?
Right.
We talking about 1 PSI? Really, man?
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like that same logic fit. Like, man, we're really talking about, the whole world is talking about 1 PSI.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Boxing, man.
Boxing.
What's going on with boxing? I know that you said something about Porter and your boy
Porter and Broner.
Mr. Broner.
So
June 20th?
June 20th,
Okay.
another Premier Boxing Champions card from Uncle Al Heyman. I think that's a big fight. And the fact that I don't know if it's going to be on network TV or if it's going to be on True TV or Spike or whatever, but it's not going to be pay-per-view. I think this. I'm not always trying to, bring out any races or ethnicities or anything, but if you pay attention, if you're paying attention, it's very seldom that two black fighters or African Americans, whatever you choose to refer to it, I just say I like black. But you don't see a lot of black fighters being matched up against other black fighters, and I think boxing matchmaking has played off on this stereotypical. I'm gonna put a tough-chinned Mexican, slower Mexican in there, a durable, tough, gritty Mexican in there with this slick fighter, and we're gonna see who wins. And I just think, no, Hagler fought Sugar Ray, Hagler fought Hearns fought Iran Barkley. Like I said, Shane and Floyd met years after that fight was interesting. Zab and Mayweather met, and that didn't move the needle. So I'm just saying, I think here's two young guys, both with some speed and quickness, and I think it's very interesting, and I'm happy that it's happening. I thought it might have went off better if it was held in Ohio, because Porter floated it out there. It was a battle for Ohio, but he's living in Las Vegas now, him and his team. So I'm excited, man. I'll try to get that up on the Facebook page today to see if people had some opinions on it. But what started it was I saw Broner at the Shaq's All-Star Comedy event that I went to Sunday night with D-Ray and Tony Roberts. And we'll come back to that. We actually have a call.
Yep.
To a lower level of a superstar?
I don't think so. I think he doesn't have enough help. Truthfully. You look who does the majority of the score on that team is the two-headed monster, him and Blake Griffin. Sometimes him by himself, but Blake Griffin don't always show up. You know what I'm saying? But you get blanked a quarter for the fourth quarter for a game. That's not pulling your weight. It seems like he just pulling too much of it other way. I don't agree with that.
So how do you think they need to address the weaknesses for them to improve next year? You think, because DeAndre Jordan might be leaving?
Yeah, I think he ain't gonna leave because money out there for him, but he ain't gonna get no max contract. He's not max contract 25 years.
You don't think so? 7 feet tall, athletic.
Man, can't shoot free throws.
I've grown in my appreciation for DeAndre because
I appreciate everything he does on the floor. He runs the floor. He gives 100%. He plays defense. He should have done Defensive Player of the Year. He got an argument for that. And he does. He puts it all on the floor. He just can't put. If he had a little bit of offense to his game, I think that would make him a max player.
What if a team like Minnesota got in the mix? We need a definitive big man, a big. What if they made a play for him? You already have Wiggins. They got this second pick, or they got the number 1 pick in the draft. I think it's a market out there. I'll point out that when Chandler went to New York, he got some big money. It's a certain skill set that you have when you're that tall and that active and that athletic.
True. But at the same time, we got to play with a running point guard. A good point guard complements Jordan. A great fit, truthfully. And don't be surprised if you heard it from me first. You end up in Cleveland. That's a perfect fit for him.
Okay.
That's a perfect fit for him because if you take Love off the books, they got their money.
Okay. Hey, Charles, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
Now we're just gonna transition, man. I saw that it was announced earlier that they made some changes to the field goals or the point after attempts. I believe they agreed to move that back to the 15-yard line, and maybe on a 2-point attempts to move it to the 2-yard line. I noticed earlier you mentioned that you were an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Do you think this all plays into and the Eagles were one of the teams that submitted their proposal for the 2-point conversion being the mandatory play. Do you think that's part of the reason for Tebow to be brought in?
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, I think he's gonna find his niche in Philly. He got a role. Chip Kelly got a role for him. He wouldn't have brought him in there for him to play in his offense. I don't know what the role is going to be exactly, but it's going to be an important role for him. But with the field goal getting pushed back to the 15-yard line, it's good when it get cold outside.
Right.
The purpose is only. But the weather's going to play a big factor in it. It's not just going to be a given. I think it'll play a good part in a good transition, good part in the league.
I just bring that up because I saw that, like, Tim Tebow's 2-point conversion, his success rate was like in the mid 70s, and the closest after that was like in the high 30s or low 40s or something. He'll
turn into a fullback if he got you to get the ball in, or he'll throw it. So he's gonna get it all. That's what you gotta like about him. But you're gonna give up.
Right.
He gets inches close, he's gonna try to dive in the end zone. He got a big body, so he ain't gonna bounce off of you. So.
Right. So what's your last take, man? We want to move on to open the lines back up. What's your last take for us this week, Charles?
My last take on that lottery, NBA lottery last night.
What stands out to you the most?
It ain't falling through Phil Jackson. I don't know what he want to do. I mean, I know he was going for broke to get at least top 2 picks in the draft. I think he's going to draft that pick, and he's going to trade that pick.
You think he's going to trade out of the 4 slot?
4 slot. Only if West Davis still on the board, he won't trade the slot. If D'Angelo Russell was still on the board, he'll take him. If Philly takes him, I think he's going to trade that pick. Nobody really else work that type of money or this small amount there. Really.
Okay.
Everybody's making on that next year draft. It's going to be draft that with all the talent, young talent.
Okay. All right. Hey, man, we got some comments up on the Facebook page, man, if you want to take a moment and carry out, because I got all this posted for today. So holler at us on there if you have any additional thoughts, man.
Got you. All right. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks for calling in tonight. All right now we want to welcome to the show a special guest for tonight. Her name is Shelly Chappelle. She heads up the organization called Mothers and Daughters United. She has an event coming up on the 30th of May. It's called Surge. We just basically want to get some visibility on the event. So I invited her to come on and kind of speak to it quickly. And then next week we hope to have her back to kind of talk more in depth on all of her organizations or the cause of her organization. So, Shelly, we welcome you to the show. You're on with the Fifth Quarter Sports Show. Myself, Wood, my co-host Jay, and our sound guy Chuck. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that.
No problem. Thanks for responding to my calls, and I apologize for texting you the wrong number.
That's okay.
But things happen.
Right.
So you're with Mothers and Daughters. This is your Mothers and Daughters United. This is your own organization that you started, correct?
Correct. We are a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and I am the founder and president. And we host different events throughout the year for mothers and daughters to help strengthen their relationship and have some time for bonding so that they can build and have healthy relationships.
And when did you launch this?
We have actually been an organization since 2012, but I have been hosting mother and daughter events prior to that, just my daughter and myself and several of my friends, and it kind of grew into this organization. So that's how we started. Okay.
Is there places online that we can find you? Anything you could throw out there for us?
Yes, we're actually on Facebook, and we also have a website. Our website is Mothers and Daughters with an S, both with an S, Mothers and Daughters United, INCinc.org. So
Okay.
They can look up any upcoming events that we have and also check out some of our past events as well.
Okay. So again, like I said, we just want to get you on today to kind of introduce the event that you have coming up, which is called Surge, correct?
Correct. And it's a Surge seminar, and what Surge stands for is Support, Uplift, and Respect Girls Everywhere. And this seminar is for mothers and daughters, and basically we will be talking about different activities that they can do together to help strengthen their relationship. It's in an intimate atmosphere, so there's no, outside distractions. And we have guest speakers, we have food, we have vendors, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to it.
Okay. Again, that's May 30th. What time and where is this being held?
It is from 11 to 2, and it is at the Ray and Joan Cox Center, the community center right on Kiowee. It's 1000 Kiowee, East Kiowee in Dayton.
Okay. So how many events is this for? Is this for Mothers and Daughters United now?
Oh my goodness, we've done a ton. I can't even count. I've been doing events since 2009.
Okay.
Our organization has been doing them as well since 2012. So we've done at least 50 events throughout.
Oh, okay. So you're hard at work in the community then.
Yeah. So we do like to volunteer, and we're looking for volunteers as well for some of our programs that we offer. So if you know anybody who wants to be a volunteer, they can go to our website and go to our contact page and submit their information and let us know.
Okay. Do you also have a email address or anything that you can share or that you'd like to share for people to reach you?
Yes, our email address is mothersanddaughtersunited@gmail.com.
Okay. Anything else you want to throw out there? Like I said, we do want to get you on next week to talk more about your organization, and I need a chance to kind of read through your organization's profile that you got to me. But anything in closing?
I just appreciate you guys letting us come on. I look forward to next week where we can discuss it a little bit more, some of the activities that we're doing throughout the year, the rest of the year.
Okay.
So
thanks a lot.
Much.
Thanks a lot again. We're on with Shelly Chappelle of Mothers and Daughters United. Surge event coming up May 30th. We wish you well as you get prepared for that, and we hope it's a big success. And like I said, we look forward to speaking with you further next week.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Reggie.
Thanks, Shelly. Take care.
Bye.
So as I was mentioning, we just had our first caller of the night, Charles from Lawton, Oklahoma. Once again, it's the Fifth Quarter Show, at the Fifth Quarter Show on Twitter, or you can find us on Facebook, Fifth Quarter Show. So I was finishing up on Broner, man. He was actually at the Shaq's comedy event that was Sunday down in Cincinnati. My wife actually spotted him walking in the front door. It was odd, man, because he didn't get a whole lot of, it wasn't a lot of a big crowd. He was with a smaller entourage. And I just bring it up because he was in good shape. And I know before his last fight, some people thought that he ballooned up a little bit, but he looked to be in good shape. I didn't see many drinks flowing down there to his seat. So, and like I said, the fight is coming up on the 20th. So I just wanted to shout out there. Like I said, I tried to do some fishing today on Twitter to see, I made a comment about him being at the event, and several people either favorited or retweeted my comment about him looking good going into camp. So I just wanted to shout out really quick. We actually had a new follower on the Twitter page, and it was a female, and her name was @Wanda. And I just told her I was trying to see if she would call in tonight, but I guess she had some things going on, but she did follow us, so I appreciate that. But her Twitter handle was @Wanda3445_7, and she actually said she was adamant that Porter would win, and it kind of shocked me because I thought a lot of people would be leaning towards Broner running away with that one. So I don't know what your take is. You want to go into your breakdown of what you would expect for that matchup, man, now that I've rambled on?
Yeah, I just think Porter is not at the caliber, is not up to the caliber of fighter as Broner. I think Broner is as good as he want to be. I think he can really dominate this fight, if he boxes. And I think Broner actually has a nice punch. I think if he puts some punches together, he can get Porter out of there. But with you just telling me that Broner looked like he was in shape, he said in the past, well, this last fight he had, he was going to start taking his profession a little bit more seriously. I think it should be a night where he can impress, you know, and get back to where he needs to be, and maybe set himself up for a bigger payday.
I think it's good risk, it's good intrigue there, and it's a great reward for either man. I did say in the last fight, Porter's comeback fight after being defeated by England's or Great Britain's Kell Brook, he exposed some things on Porter. After Porter had the sensational knockout of Paulie Malignaggi, Kell Brook treated it was a big man being better than a little man, and I just think going into this fight, and then after the loss to Kell Brook, Porter had it was a Latino boxer that he faced, and the Latino guy landed some good shots on him, and that kind of caught my attention. We kicked it back and forth of rather not Porter was just trying to impress, so he was a little bit more reckless than necessary. He did go ahead and get a mid-round knockout of the Latino guy. I want to say that guy's last name was Eric or something, but he didn't speak English. He was a Latino fighter from, you know, somewhere in South America. But I just think Broner is the stronger guy. I do think Porter's gonna be game and he's gonna take his chances, but I think I'm picking Broner there myself. So Wanda at Wanda 3445 _7. I told her I'd shoot her a link of the show tomorrow. She did run with Porter. She was the only one that really responded to my question out there on Twitter. I think Broner's gonna win unless I see something different happening along the way. I'm probably gonna roll with Broner.
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier, man, it should be a good night for boxing. We haven't seen two African American, black, you know, whatever fighters bang in a long time, you know, that are really have a name behind them and actually are skilled. So that's good. I know that was one of the knocks on, you know, Floyd. You know, he doesn't, you know, confidence in his ability. He calls himself the future of boxing.
Right.
And one thing for sure, we know Porter's not going to run from him. So, you know, it's going to be a bang-bang type of contest. But I think if I had to say who was more talented, we have to go with that guy from Mr. Broner. He's from where?
I believe he's from Cleveland.
He's from Cleveland.
But him and his dad have relocated to Las Vegas to chase bigger fights.
Okay. So I'm going to go with Broner too, my friend.
Word did come out that I saw two things that in the back channels they are pursuing a fight. We're going to break it into a call real quick. Caller, you on with the Fifth Quarter Show. What's your first name and where you calling from?
Diane, and I'm calling from Huber. First of all, let me congratulate you on last week's show. Very, very interesting. And I thought you just did a wonderful job, and the information that was provided from the Coach Trice was really good. Second of all, now, I think Golden State ought to just get that game. They ought to just give them the games and let them go, because they aren't going to, they just aren't going to get anywhere. And I used to be a big Howard fan. I think Howard just has given up. I mean, first is the right leg, now it's the left. And I just don't think he's into the game anymore. And I think it'll end up that Cleveland will take it home. And I think that's what LeBron's went home to do, to give Cleveland a game, give them the championship.
Thank you for the compliment on the show. I was pretty proud of that show myself. I hope some people checked it out. To Mr. Howard, I think Houston did hold down the second and third seed in the Western Conference for an extended period of the season while Dwight Howard was on.
So he was out, right?
So there's a chance that they could extend this series versus Golden State. me and Jay are actually rolling with Houston to kind of make it a 6 or 7 game series and possibly win it. So, and we did hit on earlier with Dwight Howard's demeanor on the court. It doesn't seem like he has a lot of fire to be great.
Nothing
and Kobe,
like when he was with Orlando.
Right. And that was one of the things Kobe mentioned when they had their rift was Kobe kept asking him, do you want to be good or do you want to be great? And Kobe was never satisfied with the, with
his answer,
with his commitment,
his
commitment to being
great. The way
great.
he played, it was like
so your take.
He didn't care. He'd come down. He'd be the last lane down the court. And when he was up against somebody, it's like he let him get the ball and everything, and he didn't put anything in there.
Okay. So if you see, go ahead.
No, I just was going to say last night that, I just don't keep thinking that all the threes are going to win the game. They can't keep doing that with those threes.
Golden State,
yeah. Yeah, that's just one of those things, that happens. It's not a lucky shot, but you got to think that, what is the guy's name? I can't think of his name. He had his little kid up there last night.
Seth Curry.
Yeah, Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, I'm sorry. I called him Seth earlier. You didn't even catch that, Jay.
He can't carry that game with all those threes. And it's just like with Harden. Harden was trying to go back and forth with him, and he had nobody else to help him. Well, what's his name came out for a minute and did a little bit. The one that used to be with Atlanta.
Josh Smith.
He came out and helped him some and everything. But I just don't see them beating them. It's just like, I don't know if they just got worn out at the end or what. But they stayed with them. I have to give them that much credit. So maybe they can pull it out. Because they, after they finally caught up with them, they stayed with them.
They did fight back.
Yeah, they got back in the game. But I just don't see it. I don't know if Howard can work on that, he can. He bumped knees. It looked like with Josh Smith. And, people have their knees cut open all the time and get back up on their feet and on. Here he is getting paid all this money. And he needs all that money to pay for all them babies he got.
True.
He needs to get out there and play like hell. But he just doesn't have that attitude. And they really need him. But I'm not gonna pull for anybody. My team is gone, so
which was
Chicago. And I knew they're another one. They have nobody up under that net. And they just, they're just there. But I'm a pull for Rose to get him one championship. If I was him, I'd ask to be traded. I really would.
Okay. Well, look. So let's close it out now. You said that LeBron went home to bring a championship back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So if you think it's Golden State coming out of the West, and you think Cleveland comes out of the East, then who do you think wins out of that?
Of course, Look, LeBron's would run all over Curry and Thompson and all of them. LeBron is a dirty player, but the man knows how to play dirty and get over.
Okay.
So
okay.
I'm going to say that I predict that he's going to win. He's going to let Cleveland know that he didn't let them down.
Okay. Let's end it there then.
Okay.
Thank you for your call. And we're going to play this back now if you're not right. If Houston wins, we're going to put you back on blast now. So we thank you for your call tonight.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.
So we're just coming back in again. It's the Fifth Quarter Show at the Fifth Quarter Show on Twitter. That's THE5THQTR at the Fifth Quarter Show. Again, you can reach us Wednesday nights, 7:30 to 9. We open the phone lines up, 937-630-4722. So we're finishing up with boxing, man. Like I said, I think it's not really breaking down a colored thing or anything like that. We don't play that game here. But I think you want to see, I want to see the hand speed. I want to see people deal with different movement. And I just think that that's one thing that Floyd's kind of ran away from is, dealing with somebody that's more athletic, better hand speed. He fights nobody taller than him. So
no, not happening.
It'll be interesting in the Broner and Porter fight. This past weekend, boxing's a guy that's quickly moving up the pound for pound list. Is it Kazakhstan? Yeah. Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. He knocked out Monroe Jr. You see the fight, Jay?
No, I just saw
highlights.
My son sent me the knockout.
Oh, he sent you the knockout?
Yeah.
He knocked Monroe Jr. down a good 6 times, and the kid basically quit. And I can't blame him. I think he made a good business decision. I think he was a fighter with maybe 17, 18, 19 fights. Mm-hmm. He was up against a monster in Triple G. He put on a good. I mean, he did land some shots on Triple G.
Right.
He was getting knocked down. He may have went down in the first. I know he went down in the second. But he made it a fight. He was up against a better man, and he just said he had enough. And he was getting hit with some bombs.
Triple G hit hard.
I think so. That may be 21 straight knockouts.
Yeah.
And nowadays we don't really keep track of TKOs like we used to.
Right.
So some people were saying, well, this is a TKO because he didn't knock him out. But we group them all together nowadays. I think he hits hard, man. Mm-hmm. So now the big talk is whether or not Ward will fight Triple G. Mm-hmm. It's a couple weight classes there.
Break it down for us real quick, Wood. So what's Ward's weight class?
I think Ward is at 68.
And what's Triple G?
Triple G is at 160.
160.
I'm probably wrong as hell, but
Ward's the bigger man.
He's the bigger man.
Yeah, that's okay.
And because I believe the catch weight was being thrown around at like 164 if Ward could make that. I'm gonna say this right now. I think that's a 3 or 4 year project, like Manny, and
let it build up a little bit.
Not only that, Ward has just become Rock Nation's flagship fighter, and I don't think Rock Nation has the
now you're talking business.
Yeah, I don't think they have the reputation to pull all that off. I don't really know who's representing Triple G. He is on HBO, I believe.
Okay.
Ward may be on Showtime now, but just like I said, and the Espinoza guy left Rock Nation Sports, so I don't think the know-how is there to bring that fight together to the market.
Happen.
I think that could be pay-per-view. I'd be really excited to see Canelo after that whipping that he put on, the beating that he put on Kirkland. He can write his own ticket right now, in my opinion.
There you go.
Triple G, he's fighting often and he's knocking people out, and he's gonna get he wants to get hit to give his hit.
He does.
He's a big proponent of that type of boxing. So I think if that fight happened, it will probably go to pay-per-view. Cotto still has a strap at 160, and it's a lot of he gotta use the bathroom and get off the pot.
Right.
Cotto to me is still a 154, 147 guy, and but he's too small there. He's got to let these guys go.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. So let me ask you a question real quick on boxing. And the next boxer caller we have, I want to ask him this question too. Old school boxer, Aaron Pryor. Why doesn't he get the respect? And a lot of people name him him as one of the greatest boxers of all time. I mean, should he be given that kind of lofty status, or Nobody ever mentions Aaron Pryor, and I looked at his record.
From Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
Did you just mention that?
No, I didn't mention that. No.
Cincinnati guy.
Yeah. I just think that
nobody wanted to fight him.
Nobody wanted to fight him. He was managed by, like you said, Cincinnati, La Rosa, which originated down in Cincinnati. La Rosa Pizza, ain't that?
He was managed by him?
Yeah. I think that was
did some reading this week.
Yeah, so
you didn't read the Wells report, did you?
Exactly. So I wanted to know why nobody ever mentions Pryor when they, you name some of the best, middleweight or welterweight, that kind of weight class type fighters.
He never did get to fight with Sugar Ray, did he?
Not Sugar Ray had the eye issue, right? The retina.
Right. He kind of went out with that. He just never could get the best of facing, and I remember an old joke with Sugar Ray just being like, because he was smaller than Sugar Ray,
right?
But he just could never get the right people in the ring.
Yeah, he wasn't. You're right. He was like a light welterweight. He
was an undersized guy, and and then I think when he may have positioned himself to warrant that fight, I think, and I'm speaking without any type of research, but he just couldn't get the better guys of that era to get in the ring with him.
Right, because he fought, like when we were watching boxing as younger guys, kids.
Wide World of Sports.
Yeah, we never really got a chance to really see him. Because we all knew about Hagler, we knew about Hearns, we knew about Duran, we knew about the big guys.
Right.
But we never really heard a lot about Pryor.
Yeah, I think he was resigned to fighting lower level fighters with lower profiles. He couldn't get the big fight. And now that you mentioned his management, he probably just didn't have the managers. That relationship game in boxing is everything.
Right.
And if the guys cannot do that finagling to get a name, a signature on near an X, it's just hard to do that. And I mean, right now we look at Thurman, and now, I mean, back then the boxing game was different as far as Las Vegas has become the center of the game. We don't even see that many fights over in Atlantic City anymore.
Yep.
And now Barclays, I think Jay-Z is trying to push that to be the East Coast hub for boxing. I just think there's a lot of things working against Pryor. Maybe I'm gonna do some research, man, and like you said, in the future we can shed light on it.
Thanks, man. Hey, any other boxing news?
No, just that was it, man. I just appreciated the people interacting with the show. I thank Wanda for her response. I sent out some other guys that had favorited the AB. One of those guys had a picture with AB. He was a big money team guy. Like I said, I was just out there fishing, man, trying to bring in some talkers.
Yeah,
one of them was a boxer.
There it is.
He was like a boxer / gospel singer. So that was all good.
So we're going to move to entertainment, man. And you just mentioned the Broner. He was at the big comedy show.
Yeah.
I'll let you kick off with that. Who was on the show and how was the show?
It was a guy named Wildcat. I've never seen him. You ever seen a Wildcat guy? He was on when we got into the building. We were running. We got there like right at 8. Starting time was 8. D. Ray Davis was the host. Tommy Davidson opened up. Red Grant was set in the second slot, and then they closed it out with Tony Roberts from Detroit.
Okay, so the guy with the hat, Tony Roberts, in the show.
Yeah,
the comic, he's the pro comic, the one that everybody likes to see.
I think he's kind of in Bernie Mac's shoes right now. Not the same